Hi, this is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and these are two Android TV boxes, devices that you plug into your TV to run Android apps, and I'm going to do a quick shootout in terms of what one has and over the other. This is the Rikomagic MK902, Tronsmart Vega S89. This has an RK3188 quad-core processor, and this has a Amlogic S802 quad-core processor. While they're based on similar technology, this guy's a little bit faster and also has better Wi-Fi performance in my tests so far. Supposed to be able to handle H.265 video and 4K video playback. You're going to have to work pretty hard to find videos that it does support, because in my quick tests it didn't handle some of the videos that I did download from the internet. The MK902, pretty decent performer, doesn't do quite as well in benchmarks, but it's not a bad choice. Sells for about $100 and about $120. The Tronsmart comes with a remote control that is wireless and gives you basic functionality: media button, music, web, and app to fire up certain applications, Android home and return buttons, a mouse mode that doesn't work quite as well as I'd like, but I'll try to show you that in a minute, menu buttons, and so forth. No remote control for the Rikomagic, but Rikomagic did also send me to test this MK704 wireless remote, which you can plug in and use either on an Android device or on a Windows or Linux or other device. And it has a sort of air mouse mode if you want to use it that way, as well as a built-in QWERTY keyboard. It's a little awkward to use, I find. And for testing purposes, honestly, I just use a wireless mouse and keyboard. But if you wanted to use this in the living room, something like the MK704 might make more sense. So let's take a quick look around on the MK902. We've got two USB ports on this side, micro SD card slot, two more USB ports for a total of 4, audio, Ethernet, HDMI, and optical, and power, and an external antenna. Don't let it fool you though, because as I mentioned, I actually get better Wi-Fi performance on the Tronsmart. This guy has just 2 USB ports and not as many USB ports, and AV, Ethernet, HDMI, SPDIF, USB OTG, and micro SD. It also has a power button, which is something that you don't often find on these guys. So let's go ahead and plug these in. So one of the first things that you'll notice here is when you go to fire up the MK902, you wind up with a user interface that looks a lot like Android on a phone or a tablet. You've got a full list of applications here, you've got buttons at the bottom here, and you can use a keyboard and mouse or an air mouse or wireless remote control to navigate. Again, I find it a lot easier to navigate using a full keyboard and mouse, but you may feel differently, especially again if you're in the living room and you want to sort of be able to sort of wave around and just occasionally enter text. Now, one of the things that I think makes something like the MK902 more versatile than a Roku box or a Chromecast is that it really can run thousands and thousands of different Android applications. So it's got a user face that's not really designed for TV, but it's got the versatility of a device that's not designed for TV. So for instance, you can go ahead and just fire up a web browser and you know, run it the way you normally would. You can run all sorts of different games, you can access the Google Play Store, and download third-party apps. You can use Office software if you wanted. So really you could just plug this into a keyboard, mouse, and display like this and use it like a $100 PC. Now, of course, what you really probably want to do is watch videos, listen to music, and so forth, and it works pretty well when you're using things like online media. The stereo system behind me here is actually designed to work with that. You slide it in and access a buffering issue here, sort of touchscreen controller for internet media playback. The tablet itself is a Then I can hit the back button. It should take us to the previous screen, and now suddenly we're out. But now to get back into Google Play Music, I need to use the arrow keys until... So online video works pretty well. It's YouTube. Netflix works nicely. I find that local playback can be a little bit more hit or miss, because it's going to depend on what kind of formats you're using. So for instance, I downloaded a bunch of videos that in 720 through 4K resolutions because I wanted to test the performance on the Tronsmart Vega S89. Now, it turns out that neither of these devices really does a great job of handling these videos, so I'm going to show you just the lowest resolution version here, which is the 720p version of Tears of Steel. Let's go ahead and fire that up in MX Player. most of these other apps just wouldn't even open these files. MX Player does work, but it works in software decoding mode instead of hardware decoding mode. So that's going to be a lot of processing power.
It's not my fault, you know.
So the video quality looks pretty good. But you can see it stutters a little bit. And if we go to part with dialogue, you can see there's some audio and video sync issues.
We already tried that one.
So that's at the 720p version. I had better performance with this video on the Tronsmart Vega S89, but again, your results are going to vary. What I find that it works really well for our online media services like YouTube, Netflix, Pandora, and so forth. And so that's the MK902. Your results are going to vary sort of depending on what you're going to use it for, but it's hard to find something in this price range and with this sort of feature set that is one size fits all. It can run applications like Xbmc Media Center, but again, depending on the formats and files that you're using it with, your performance may vary. Now, when you come to the Tronsmart Vega S89, what you have is a user interface that really does look more like it was designed for a TV, and you can navigate using this remote control. So let's go ahead and move around a little bit, pick different apps. You can see your complete list of apps, and again, now we have a slightly more TV-friendly user interface. Go back to the home screen, choose online video, and try YouTube. Now here you start to see some of the problems, which are if I want to scroll, it's scrolling on the right column, but how do I get to the left column to start scrolling? These buttons don't seem to do it. So I'm going to hit the mouse button, and that lets me move an on-screen mouse, but only a little bit at a time unless I'm sort of constantly clicking. So it's a little bit awkward, but I'm just going to go ahead and switch to a mouse and keyboard here, which works just fine. So let's take a quick look at an online video. You can also see that we've got this sort of mixed UI where when we're in the YouTube app, which is having trouble loading a video for some reason, you can see the toolbar.
Want to build the backyard of your dreams?
At the top of the screen here. When you're on the home screen, you don't see the toolbar unless you swipe down from the top of the screen. Hi, this is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and this is the Acer Aspire V11. It's an 11.6-inch notebook with an Intel Pentium or Celeron Bay Trail processor, and it's a fanless system. So online video works pretty well, and from here you can go back to the home screen. Again, you can swipe down from the top and see what's going on there. And you can see that we've got USB plugged in. So it's a workable user interface. It's basically just a home screen for Android that's designed to work well on TVs. You can customize the home screen a little bit. Oops, I'm still in mouse mode. By going here and say there's another app that you want to add to the home screen, or that you want to remove. Say I don't want the Google Play Store there. It's unchecked, and it's rechecked. Say I want Quick Office. Check that. Now when I hit the back button, Quick Office pops up down here at the bottom. So that's kind of a nice feature. It does come with Xbmc preloaded, but again, MX Player was sort of my best bet for getting various videos to play. So let's take a quick look at that Tears of Steel video again. We're going to try an MX Player. And again, I'm just going to use the keyboard and mouse here. And it's running into problems. I think it just uploaded MX Player, updated MX Player. Now this device has 2 gigs of RAM, 8 gigs of storage. When I ran some benchmarking tests, it came out well ahead of the MK902 in terms of raw CPU and graphics performance. And it also did better in Wi-Fi performance. It handles 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, whereas the MK902 only deals with 2.4 gigahertz networks. Okay, so we just reinstalled that app. Let's see if that makes a difference. So let's go open 720p MX player. Here we go. Now in hardware decoding mode we're hearing audio but not seeing video, so let's switch to the software decoder and skip to where we can see some dialogue. Alright, so audio and video seems to work pretty well. Let's take a look at the 1080p version.
We have main engine start.
Again, it seems to want to use this hardware decoder, but we need software.
Whatever, Tom! You're freaked out by my robot hand.
I'm not freaked out, but it's... Alright, fine. I'm freaked out. I'm having nightmares that I'm being chased by this giant...
So in that case, the video quality looks pretty good, but the audio and video are a little bit out of sync. Let's see what happens if we try 1720 by 720.
And I just want to be awesome in space.
Why don't you just admit that you're freaked out by my robot hand?
I'm not...
Still not perfect, and 4K just for kicks. And we have a video slideshow. So there you go. It can handle various video formats, but again, without hardware encoding, you're going to run into trouble, and it's going to be a little hit or miss whether you can find videos that are in the right formats for hardware encoding. Like the other model, if you really wanted to, you could install a different home screen application. You do have complete access to the Google Play Store here. And many different apps do work. In fact, some apps that I had a difficult time installing on the MK902, I was able to install on this device. So, for instance, the most popular speed test app, I think, is probably Ookla's speed test app, which I use to test Wi-Fi performance. Couldn't install it without hacking the Google Play Store or hacking the build prop file on the other model, but on this version, I had no problems with it. So. In terms of sort of compatibility, you might have a little bit more success. Because I know a lot of people are going to ask, let's go ahead and take a quick look at Xbmc Media Player. You can see everything looks pretty good here. You can download and install add-ons. Now most of my media is actually stored on a network drive, so this hasn't been a perfect way to do this. And when I tried these files, they're kind of playing audio only. One thing that I've noticed about Xbmc on a lot of these devices is that it also can take a long time to exit, I was going to say, but that actually exited quite nicely. So anyways, there's a quick look at Android running on 2 different Android TV boxes, the MK902 with the RK3188 processor, very popular in 2013 and early 2014, and this new model with the Amlogic S802 processor. Again, go to Liliputing.com, you'll find more details on general benchmarks and overall performance. They're both pretty good devices, they're both significantly more expensive than something like, say, a Chromecast, but they're more versatile. At the same time, they're less user-friendly. So something like an Amazon Kindle Fire TV or Amazon Fire TV might be better for some people. Google's also going to be pushing its own platform for Android TV later this year. That might make more sense for some people, but right now it's really hard to beat a Chromecast in terms of ease of use. If what you really want, though, is the ability to run all sorts of different Android applications and handle different sorts of videos and so forth, and maybe even work like a desktop computer, this sort of device might meet your needs. This is Brad Linder with Liliputing.